Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And Jubilee is here once again. Monthly ranking event. I'm almost done. I've done my, for now, best run through Boss Battle 1. I have not done Boss Battle 2, but I have maxed out all 3 of the normal battles, so that's good. Today we're going to be focusing on Normal Battle 1. So first off, disclaimers is your results will vary based on your units and your gear and your dupes and all that. You're maybe not going to get exactly the same type of score that I'm looking at. You might have to change up the team or substitute some units out. Just, do what you can, use what you've got, and try your best. Disclaimer number 2 is these are the characters I use for protection gauge, and these are the characters I use for skill points. And disclaimer number 3 is don't forget to go into your town and optimize your space building so your space nuker can do as much damage as possible. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at what the stage is actually doing for us. It is an AoE fight, and the starting hand is 2 oranges and 4 blues with a 1-2-3 spread, so nothing extra special there. The mushrooms, they don't really do much. They're actually kind of tanky. They've got defense and almost guaranteed guard. They do poison you, so if you're trying to go for a max score, you do need a way to get around the poison. Whether or not you bring ODL Guy for Lord's Ambition, or you bring Gobta for the poison dodge, that's really up to you. But if you really don't care about max score, then you can just take the poison damage, because it's really not that big a deal. You do need to do 5 million damage within 5 turns to get the max turn bonus and the damage cap score. So 5 million damage, 5 turns. You do have some leeway because it's not like a 3-turn fight, and they don't stun you or anything, so that is nice. But they can, depending on your team build, they can be either tanky or not that tanky. So let's go ahead and jump in. Alright, so my max score team for Normal Battle 1 is going to be the new Schemer team, Soe, Lumi, and SOUKA. Bringing Warrior's Mind, Violet as well, the Masked Hero, the OG one. You could bring the other one if you wanted, if you have her. And then Gobta for the Poison Dodge, because we're trying to get that max score. We need that Poison Dodge ability. So SOUKA is a single target nuker, and if you, for some reason, have the new Diablo, you could use him as well, and he'll easily do the damage cap, and he'll be AoE. But we're going to single target nuke one of the enemies, and we'll just kill the other ones just outright. The charm we are running for this team is the pretty standard protection gauge on green charm, just to make sure that we can get the Soe cycled, which isn't really that much of a problem because we have the hero with the rewind and the extra protection gauge on that. But here we are starting with 36 skill, or actually 42 skill points, so we can use the Rainbow Convert turn 1, everyone's Schemer, so it's all rainbows, and as long as you take 1 damage and none of them pierce or aegis you, you can get max score. As long as your gear and everything can help you take 1 damage. So 1, 1, and 1. Perfect. Next turn, 115 points. We have a lot of SOUKA orbs. That's important. So we'll use the rainbow skill again and the green buff since it affects rainbows. We don't care about the sword gimmick. We're going to bring the hero in and use the rewind ability. Boom. And then we're going to use Soe to give us that extra protection gauge, even though they're already rainbows. But we'll get the attack stack as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are trying to just nuke 1 mushroom, so we're going to focus down one of them. And then if you can kill him, great. If not, it's not that big a deal. You might lose like 1 point on your score for taking 1 extra hit, but honestly, that's perfectly fine. So we're going to use the synergy buff now and send SOUKA away for Gobta. And now we have just enough points to use the poison dodge, and now everyone is protected from that. And again, as long as you take 1 damage, then you'll be fine. And that means even Gobta has to take 1 damage, so he needs some fairly good gear. Maybe some dupes. Actually, definitely some dupes. But we don't actually kill the 3rd mushroom. So 1 damage there, no poison, 1 damage, no poison, 1 damage, and we're ready to go. Because we have just enough points. 146. We're not bringing Blanc here this time, which might surprise people, but we have the new Lumi. Between her power and everything else, we're going to be okay. So we did also use the control stacks, so they're gonna be a bit weaker when we use the synergy resistance down, and that's also going to impact our damage and the crit resistance down. So crit skill, and we have 91 points. Perfectly. Almost perfect enough to use everything. 1 point left over. Big time buffs. We'll use Soe again just to get the max hand because we're going to nuke. Well, we also need to kill the other ones. So we're going to send SOUKA on one of the full HP, and then we'll send everything else. So 10 million, almost 11 million damage. Double the damage cap. And then Violet's ult took out that lower one, and then we had the rest of the orbs to kill whatever was left on that third mushroom. So we took 6 hits total within 3 turns. We did 11.4 million damage. Again, you can go to turn 5 if you want, but you're going to take a bit extra on your damage score. But as long as you can do the 5 million damage cap within 5 turns, like, the bulk of your score is going to look fine. Alright, the next team we're going to use is a Frieren-ish team. Himmel, Frieren, Fern. We're going to nuke with the old space Shion. And this comes with a caveat, because my Shion is level 120, and DX Unbound. So that means that she has access to an EX ult, and a little bit extra power within the first, 5 turns, which is cool. I highly doubt a lot of other people are going to have that. They might have this Shion in their box, but not level 120 with an EX ult. So we're going to run this team assuming and acting like she doesn't have an EX ult, and we're intentionally not going to get her EX ult for this run, just to prove a point that you can still do relatively good damage with her without having to have her fully duped up. But we are bringing Himmel, Frieren, and Fern, 2 masked heroes. The OG Space Masked Hero for her crit buff and rewind, and then the Wind Masked Hero as a triple orb stealer, because we're going to really bank on that. And it kinda doesn't work out in our favor, but it also kinda does, so let's go and jump ahead. This is, we have 5 turns to do this, so you can, if you want to bring a more expensive buffing character than if you have, Divine General hero, that would probably help you get damage cap a little bit better and easier, but this works too. So, turn 1, we're going to send the 4 blues. We're running the orange protection gauge charm, because that's the charm you should probably always run with an orange team. Especially since we're not bringing Blanc, we're not bringing Raphael for those protection gauge buffs. We really need some orb RNG to work out for us too. Thankfully it does here. We don't get a 6 steal of the hero, but actually that works out in our favor because I'm, again, intentionally not trying to get the EX ult. And 5 orbs of Shion will not get her EX ult here, because we'll change with Himmel. We will use her small pierce buff, which isn't that strong, but it's a 3-turn kind of thing. So there's the 6 hand of oranges. We'll send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We are trying to AoE nuke this, so we don't want to kill anyone accidentally too early. And we are just shy of the EX ult. We are poisoned, though, because we didn't bring anyone to protect us against that. Not a big deal. You don't lose that much score off of it. But now, she's ready. She's good. So we're going to rewind, and we're going to use the Fern Synergy Power buff here. And then Shion can go away, and when we take her out, we'll pull that orange orb in, and we don't have to do anything. Which is good, because we don't have access to Himmel, because, again, we're kind of short on protection gauge on this team. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the rewind turn, hopefully RNG works out for you, and you can get a full hand, or close to a full hand, and make back a lot of those points if you're still short. But, yeah, we get lucky here. So we can send another full 6 orbs just to lower their HP a bit more and get another stack in. And then turn 4, we'll nuke. And we have enough points to use everything. And we intentionally don't have the EX ult just to show. We are not going to hit damage cap. But we'll be fairly close. And fairly close is better than not close at all. Or just not doing it, right? So we take the hits. Alright, cool. Yep, there's an Aegis. Cheeky counter there. And now on turn 4, we have 250 points. We've already used one of the big major buffs from Fern, so we only need to use 3 more buffs. 2 big time ones, Fern and Frieren. We're going to miss the EX ult damage part of her buff because we don't have an EX ult. Not a big deal. If your Shion is duped up and everything, then you're going to be looking very good here. But we can still get the ult resistance down. And then we have enough points to use the crit buff for the hero, and 1 more stack of Himmel. So I think we have 3 stacks of him now, maybe. Yeah, 3 stacks of him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Shion does 1.4 across the board and then 1.7. because he doesn't have pierce resistance. But that does give us a final score of 281, which isn't the worst thing in the world. No, we did not hit the damage cap, but we're not that far off either. We didn't lose that many points on the damage received. We're still within the max turn bonus. So 281, I think, is a decent score for most people who are not trying to sweat and don't have the most premium nuking options available. So this is a team that you can use if you have Frieren and if you have Shion just kind of chilling in your box somewhere. Next up is the Visions of Coleus team, which is giving extra damage against wind enemies, and you do have some strong single-target nuking characters here. So you can go for a double or even a triple nuke in this scenario, depending on what you're going to do. So we're going to bring almost the full team. Lumi, Rimuru, Blanc, Violet, and Jean. And then we brought Spirit Master Leon. You could really bring anybody else in the support slot, but he's giving the ult and EX ult damage, and he's got that unrestricted blue orb change, so he works out very, very well. If you want to bring like Ogre's Pride Soe, that would work as well. But you know, Leon is a more recent character that people might have. So if you've got the 2nd anniversary and the 3.5 anniversary Leon, then you're going to be looking pretty good. So we are running the alt gauge on Blue Charm, because we're trying to do this in 5 turns. We want as much alt gauge as possible, and that's why we brought Coleus Rimuru for the rainbows. He is skill fused, please keep that in mind, so we can use his rainbow skill twice here. That is kind of important. But Violet with her orb change can change turn 1, or Leon, like it doesn't matter which one you use. But since Leon's a bit more versatile, I wanted to use Violet first, since it was a guaranteed. And we're going to attempt to double single target nuke. If you need Blanc's single target ult to finish someone up, then you totally can do that. This is not like a max score team, but it'll get you the damage cap within the 5 turns. So turn 2, that's pretty good. I mean, the rainbow swap wouldn't do us a lot of good here because we have more Leon orbs than anything else. So we're just going to run it like this. I should have probably stacked on Blanc before swapping her away. Not that big a deal. So we'll just send these 6, and then hopefully next turn we can get a nice hand of rainbows for the 2 ladies, and then get their EX ults up and running rather quickly. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, that mushroom is just about dead. We're going to take the poison damage. Again, not a big deal if you're not trying to max score this stage. And then turn 3 looks good. We'll use Leon again, and we'll convert that. And we've got a 2-2-2 spread. So 2 rainbows for each of the girls, and then we can bring Rimuru in, full convert that to rainbows, and then bring Blanc in, and we can get some of her ult gauge as well. And then we're going to target the other mushroom here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Spreading the love out a bit because, just in case. Just in case maybe your Jean and Violet aren't fully duped up. They're not going to do quite as much damage as mine. You can get a 3rd nuke in just to try and get that damage cap. But turn 4, we are not quite there yet, but we do get pretty lucky here. So let's do another Lumi. We can alt swap with Blanc, and then just use Violet's orb change, or Leon's orb change. It doesn't really matter. You can use anybody's orb change. You could also do a rainbow orb again, if your Rimuru is skill fused, and then you would have the 2 uses of it. We're not going to, though, because we don't really need to. We're going to get the EX ults for all 3 of these, or for the 2 ladies, and then we already have the normal ult for Blanc, so like we're pretty much ready to go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, and we've got that guard power down, so that's why we're doing 1 damage against that. So hit, and hit, and hit. Alright, cool. And we're ready to nuke 300 points. We don't have enough to use everything, but we don't need to use everything, because Leon's covering most of what Jean would do. So we're just going to use his skill, and really not touch Jean at all. And then we'll bring Blanc in, and then we'll do the Violet and Blanc buff. 1, 2, and that's pretty much all we have the points for. So we've got the 111 EX and normal ult damage, the weakness strike, the synergy resistance down, the magic buff. Violet does 3.2 million there. Jean does 4.4, so there's the damage cap. And then for good measure, Blanc does 726k. So we did more than 5 million damage within 5 turns. And, you know, it's a team that people probably have. Like, we lost 1,200 points, otherwise we would have been max. That's really good. That's pretty good. And again, if you don't have Leon, You could bring just a different support character. Maybe you don't bring an orb changer and you bring like the new Warrior's Mind Blanc and use her buff. Like that would work too. There are a number of options for this team to fill that 5th slot, and you could still reliably get that 5 million damage cap. And the last team I have for you is the Primal Demon team. Another team that's giving extra damage against wind with a space nuking character. This time we've got the Primal Demon Diablo as our AoE nuker, and then we put a whole bunch of Primal Demons with them. So Violet's our protector, another blue orb stacking team. We've got Misery for the oranges. We've got the new Warrior's Mind Blanc for her damage buff. We've got Warrior's Mind Guy for his orb change and the ult buff and the crit. And then we've got Violet for the rainbow and the control stacks and the weakness strike and everything that she's doing. Diablo himself has the physical buff and the pierce rate and the green orb changing. So, I mean, we're pretty much covered on orbs between Misery, Guy, Diablo. And then we brought Violet for that rainbow hand, because why the fuck not? If you want to bring somebody else instead of her for actual more damage support, you could bring, like, Divine General Diablo or something and get another Primal Demon with the synergy buff, and that would work out fairly well too. But alongside the last team, Visions of Coleus, we are running the Blue Orb Ult Rush charm, I believe. Actually, are we? We might be running the Protection Gauge charm. We'll find out once we actually use Violet once here. But we'll bring Violet in. We are trying to AoE nuke with this team, so we don't want to kill too quickly. So we're going to send Diablo first and not give him the 200% orbs. We do want his EX ult, which the rainbow orbs will definitely help us with. And again, if you don't have Violet, you got to bring somebody else maybe to try and get those rainbows. So maybe Visions of Coleus Rimuru for the rainbows again, because we're running a blue orb team. But here we're just gonna rainbow. we could use Blanc for the stack of control, and I think that's what we are going to do, because that will enhance our damage output as well. So let's do that. So that's 6 stacks of control, pretty good. We'll take her away. We'll do 1 stack of Violet, and here we'll find out what charm I'm running. And it is Protection Gauge. Alright, Protection Gauge on blue. Fine, that's an easy charm. We just want stacks of Violet as much as possible. Since we're not really concerned about ult gauge because of the rainbow orbs, we're going to be okay. Poison and poison. We actually dodged 2 poisons, and then we didn't dodge the 3rd one. Unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Ult swaps, kind of a problem here. I mean, we have Misery. She can do it 3 times if we really need her to. But I really needed her to just swap the Diablo ult, which she didn't do there. So we'll do 2 stacks of Violet. We're just going to take Blanc away and get her out of here. So we actually should have done that first. But we have the 2 oranges here, and once we swap Blanc out, we'll bring in the 3rd orange. And then we can just use Misery's orb change. Boom. Or the rainbow orb. Like, it doesn't matter. You could do either one. You could do the rainbows, you could do the Misery convert, would have had full hand of blues, but we're going to do this to get the Diablo EX ult more than anything else, and then next turn, we can nuke. Turn 4. I mean, would we have more power? Yeah, we've got a lot of control stacks giving us weakness strike, so we don't really need to go to turn 5 unless you are really unconfident in your damage output. So here, 2 more stacks of Violet. That's another 24% attack for Diablo. We don't need to use Violet for anything because the control is already there, so we're still getting the benefits of the debuffs. Not that we're really using that many debuffs. Honestly, since Blanc is here, you could nuke with Blanc. Like, she would probably out-damage Diablo, realistically, if you got her EX ult. Because of that Dark Resistance down debuff that she has, she actually, for sure, would out-damage Diablo. But we're going to nuke with Diablo. And he still does 3 and then 3 point and then 5 million over there. So more than enough damage. Way more than enough damage on this team, no matter who you want to nuke with. So we did the damage cap within 5 turns. That was turn 4. And then we took 567 points of damage. So we're not that far away again from the max score. But those are 4 teams that you can attempt to use for normal Battle 1. Primal Demon has been around for a while. Visions of Coleus was the second Annie team. Obviously, the Schemer team is now, and then the Frieren collab is the Frieren collab. So, teams that people summoned for or might have just laying around they haven't touched for a while. But if you have any other teams that you use to clear this stage with a decent score or max score, please let me know in the comments so other people can see that. But that's it from me. Take it easy, and I'll see you all later.